So as we enter season 4 of this Build a Nation series, there might be a lot of jump cuts as I'm recovering from a very bad bout of flu which I caught in hospital. I'm in the middle of waiting for a hernia operation, so long term there might be a lot of content in a few weeks when I'm off work for a few weeks. But yeah, we're going to power through. The voice might go. We're going to try to review this season. Now, after winning the treble last season, the Super Cup, the Cup and the League, we go into this season with a lot of confidence. We are expected to challenge, but we're not expected to win the league, which is nice. Takes a bit of pressure off because we are still in the building phase. So in terms of salary per annum going into this season, we are in second place, spending 339k. Quite a lot less than first. KI is still smashing it. If we go into the club vision, we are still semi-professional. The board still refuse to let us turn pro. We do only have 615k in the bank. I think we need to get to 1 million, so hopefully in the summer, if we do well in European competition, obviously our first season in the Champions League, maybe we'll have enough money then and maybe the board will then let us go pro. I say maybe, I actually know the answer. So in terms of transfers, staff-wise, the only changes are we brought in a couple of new under-18 coaches, a new head coach and under-18 normal coach. Both of them I don't think actually have the ability to push on and move into the first team, but we needed to add some depth in them positions, mainly because our main coach left, etc. So, but yeah, we move. One change to mention is our B team coach is now also our head of youth development. So it's nice how we've been able to bring two positions together, which I did want to do going into last season, but we couldn't do. But we've managed to do it now, and I think we've actually got a decent one as well. In terms of player-wise, released players, Natterstad, one of our Faroe Island national team central defenders, has left on a free. Linda, who was a backup winger, Priest, who was a backup centre mid, and Michaela, who is he? Oh yeah, he's the left winger we signed. Just to give you some context, I think it's about 15 days since I started this season and finished it. Obviously the flu has meant we couldn't record the end of season video. So in terms of all transfer side of things, we brought in a few players at the end of last season. Jonas Olsen has managed to join us. We had been touting him for a couple of years. Obviously broke into the Faroe Island national team. Very talented player. Absolutely delighted to bring him in. £400 a week. He is one of our highest earners. But I wanted to sign him, so we spent the cash. Coming in for 8,000, our new first choice keeper going in next season comes in on a backup contract, which does mean if he plays poor, we can drop him down and not actually give him game time. But he's a decent player, Faroe Islands national team player now as well. I'm pleased with him as coming in as our first choice keeper. Adding some depth in central midfield, joining us from B36 is Jacobson. I think he's a decent centre mid. Not the world's best, but again, we needed depth and we needed more players with Faroe Islands nationality. So we did it. Paul Kalsberg joins us, and this is someone who obviously a lot of people in the comments wanted us to sign. Absolutely delighted to bring him in. I think he could be a great player for us going forward. Yeah, I'm just really pleased to sign him. Only finishing a 6, which is a worry. But apart from that, he's a decent player. He had a good season last year. 27 games, 17 assists he got for Scala. So hopefully he can do the same for us. Also joining us is from 07 Vesta is Auberger. Now he is a Faroe Islands national player. Now he was Danish. Spent 2 years in the country. Danish players after 2 years in the Faroe Islands do become Faroe national. So we convinced him to play for the national team. I've now convinced him to join us at AB. I think he's a very, very solid central defender. Now another player who was agreed before the end of last episode was Cesar Silva. Comes in as our right back. Brazilian. Apart from his dribbling, he's a very, very talented player. Coming in as a central defender stroke central midfielder, Paulo Macedo. I think this guy's insane. Driven personality, 20 determination, 17 bravery, jump reach of 15 is 6'4", heading of 16, 18 years old. Another Brazilian gem. Now joining us on loan from Nordsjælland is Marker to add some depth against central midfield. Again, we've really struggled to add that depth, which I feel is quality. But this guy is fantastic. Will be first choice in central midfield. Really, really pleased with this signing. And the final one is down to the fact that our players were complaining about lack of depth at left back. Comes in on loan, £110 a week we're paying of his wages. I think he's a decent loan player. Fairly solid all-round player. Obviously, he doesn't count as a foreign player, being Norwegian. I'm pleased with that. The only other player going out is out on loan, and that is Rodriguez. I think it's a good loan signing. Get him out, get him some football, get him some experience, then come back and hopefully push into the first team. So we're now 4 games into the season. We've won all 4 games. Really, really good start to the season. We are already 5 points clear of professional outfit KI. The reason we came back so early is our 4th trophy so far, and this is in the second season. After winning the treble last year, we've now won another trophy. We won the Super Cup, beating KI 2-1 in the final. Really, really pleased with that. Mauricio and Cesar Silva on the score sheet. Obviously, Mauricio joined us last season, and he now has 15 in 15 after 3 goals in 4 starts in the league. This season, just another one of our Brazilian gems. So with 15 games in the season and some business has happened. Unfortunately, Pekovic, who I really did like as a winger, signed obviously last season, 7 goals in 15 games, has ended up leaving us going to Fredrikstad. Now, we did manage to get ourselves 20k plus a percentage of next sale, so I am pleased with that. Also leaving us is Juan Alberto Alle, our winger, who we also signed last season. The positive is we managed to get him back on loan for the season, and we got a percentage of next sale as well on that deal. And then finally going out on loan is Mario Benitez, who we signed last season. Wasn't close to the first team, so gone out on loan. Hopefully he can develop, playing in Iceland. We'll keep an eye on him. A couple of additions coming in. Very experienced left winger, can play left wing and left back. Join us £200 a week, 1 year deal. Comes in very much as a backup. You probably won't hear much about him this season. But Martinson, welcome to the club. Then the other one was Alla joining us back on loan. With 15 games into the season, we are 3 points clear of KI. We have lost a game this season, so after going unbeaten last year, that's not going to happen this season. We played 15, won 12, drew 2, lost 1, 38 points. We are leading the way after 15 games. So the rankings have come out in Europe, and the league has moved up 14 places to 103rd in the competition rankings now, which is absolutely fantastic. Really pleased with that. Let's scroll our way down. Find ourselves there, 103rd. So we are just behind the Estonian top flight now, and the German lower leagues, Super League for Kosovo, 2nd division in Poland. We're working our way up. We are working our way up here. You can see here the Finnish, oh no, it's 1st, 2nd, the Finnish 4th division. We're just behind the Finnish 4th division. That I shouldn't have checked that. It makes us look even worse. But 103rd, we're on the rise. We're on the rise. In terms of AB, we've moved up 50 places to rank 528th in the club rankings in Europe now. So again, positives. So we have played our first ever Champions League game. Now, out of all the teams we could have got, we could have got Riga, New Saints, Liria from Kosovo. We could have got some of them. We got Bate Borisov, who were a fairly decent, good side. And we managed to get 0-0 at home. The problem was we lost 5-1 away from home. So our first ever Champions League run has ended at the first qualifying round, losing to Bate Borisov. My voice is gone. So we've been busy. 28th of August, we've been busy. So coming in from Vikingur Goethe, comes in a young 17-year-old central defender. Not the world's best, but hopefully he can develop. Trying to add depth to our B team and our under 18s. So he joins us. Another left back, because again, the players are complaining we didn't have left backs. So we now have 4. We now have 4. Tamburini comes in with no fee at all. We're not paying his wages or anything. He's probably just going to play for our B team. But weirdly, after we signed him, players were then happy with the depth at left back. Now, I have spent some cash here, 20k. They wanted 10, but I feel now we're at the point we have a good amount of money. I wanted to try to help improve other teams by just giving them that bit extra money. That 10k, they might spend it. And I gave them him back on loan. But joining us, 18 years old, he is a national team player now in central defence. Very talented player, really happy to bring him in. Red Slag, and yeah, 20k, welcome to the club. Now, joining us on loan to add some depth at right back for the second half of the season is Wenger. And he is a very talented Faroe 18-year-old, playing in Denmark, but Faroe national player. Very talented player, really happy to bring him in as our new right back stroke backup right back when Silver can't play. Now I was trying to look at more Faroe Islands players, but then Milo Ulic from Croatia popped up, picking him up on a free transfer. Very talented central midfielder, left-footed. I couldn't say no. Talking about players I couldn't say no to. Joining us as a central midfielder, but I'm going to train him as a striker. Luan is our new backup striker, finishing of 16. He looks a very talented young Brazilian again. Now, in terms of players leaving us, we'll quickly go through it. Renslag, obviously, we did mention, went out on loan after we signed him for 20k. Jacobson, who we signed in the winter, has now gone out to NSI on loan. Danielson's gone out on loan as well. And we did lose the young Polish central defender because he started kicking off about lack of football. But we can only play 4 foreign players. And that has been a problem this year, trying to decide the best ones to play. So unfortunately, he has left us. I think we are lacking depth in defence. Maybe it was a mistake. Now, we are 20 games into the season now. We are 4 points clear. And I'm really pleased how things are going. Still only 1 defeat. Won 16, drew 3, lost 1. I've got to be pleased with how it's going. So in terms of our European run, after going out to beat Borisov in the Champions League, we then went into the Europa Conference League. Unfortunately, if we'd gone 1 stage further in Champions League, we would then get dropped into the Europa League and then potentially go into the Conference League. But we played Linfield at home. I did change our formation, a wing-back tactic for these games, and we got 3-0 victory at home. We did lose 2-0 away, but the game was done. We were through to the, I think it's the 4th qualifying round. Now, away from home, in Finland, we got a 1-1 draw. And I was starting to believe we could do it. 1-1 away from home, go back to our ground. A victory would see us into the group stage. But unfortunately, we lost the game 1-0, and we are still just not at the level to get to the group stages. Now, financially, 1.77 million in the bank now due to this run. If we go on to the income-wise, Conference League, we got 1 million in the Conference League due to going through that 1 stage. Champions League, we only got 86k. I honestly thought we might have got more. But absolutely insane. 1 million just from the Conference League into the 4th qualifying round. Going through that 1 phase has financially stabilised the club. I would mention we are still semi-pro and the board still won't change it. Youth intake is upon us. And again, it's a very poor youth intake. The only person I'm going to actually look at is this guy, Wadham, who has at least something. He has something. So hopefully he can develop into at least a B team player, and we can at least add a bit of depth to the lower leagues with some of these players who have come through. But nobody who's going to knock on the door of AB, unfortunately, or the Faroe Islands national team. But the season comes to an end. The 20th of October 2025, we have finished the season with AB. And if we click on the competition screen, you will see how the season as a whole, as a club, has gone. We won the title. Now, unfortunately, we end up losing 4 games in the league this season. If we hover over that, we lost to Vesta. Wait, that's drawn. Hang on. Let's go. Let's go. Look, I've been sick. Look, we lost 2 games, sorry. So we lost to Scarlet at home 2-0. And we lost 5-2 away from home to KI. Now, we ended up winning the league by 4 points, so it wasn't super comfortable, but we are league champions back-to-back now. Back-to-back league titles, which is fantastic. We also won the cup, so we are now back-to-back cup winners. Actually, back-to-back-to-back. Back-to-back-to-back cup winners now. So really, really pleased with that. And we won the Super Cup, obviously. So we have won the treble 2 years in a row now. Now, for a club who hadn't won the league title until last season, to win the treble back-to-back, I'm absolutely delighted. In terms of our squad, we've added a lot of depth. We've added a lot of depth to it, but the only thing I would say is we have the Ukrainian down there. We have Ale, who's Spanish. We then work our way up. We have 5 Brazilians and a Croatian. Now, let's not mention the fact that we also have some players in our B team. We can only play 4 foreign players in the starting lineup, or in the team, on the pitch, in the league, and we have too many. I signed a couple of these to see how they would develop, but at the minute we have too many. So over the winter, it's going to be a tough call, but over the winter I need to decide how we're going to develop the team. And I think we might have to go a step backwards to go forwards. Now, a lot of these players are now wanted. Macedo's wanted by Horsens in Denmark. Mauricio's wanted by a few teams, OB, Haugesund, Odds, Hamstad, Herber. If we find Cesar as well, Cesar Silva, he's wanted by 4 teams as well. So a few of our foreign players are wanted. Now, should we move on a couple of them and add depth with Faroe Islands players? Are the players from the Faroe Islands good enough to add depth? Do we need to start scouting in Scandinavia and bring in depth from nations which don't count as foreign? Over the winter, these decisions need to be made. Now, we did add some depth after the season ended. Rindam joined us not long after the youth intake because we needed a bit more depth in centre mid. He joined us on loan from Midtjylland. And then we ended up bringing in 2 Faroe Islands players, costing us 25k and 80k. Now, these were the first 2 players to come in after the decision that we needed more depth of players who weren't foreign. So Ødegaard joined me here, and he's a decent centre midfielder, 5'11". I tried to sign him on a free transfer a year ago, but he ended up going to KI. But now he's agreed to join us, £375 a week. So we are starting to up how much we are spending on wages, but it's just something we've had to do. And Aki Samuelsson as a first choice winger. Now, if you remember, we had Ale, who joined us on loan after we sold him to Malmö, but he was Spanish. I needed more depth on the wings, who weren't classing as foreign. And Samuelsson's joined us on £1,000 a week, which is, it's a lot of money. But he has all the right attributes as a winger. He's quick, he can dribble, he can cross, he can pass, good technique, good off the ball. I'm very pleased with him. He's only 21. I think we've picked up a good signing here. So we've added a bit of depth there, 2 players coming in. We've sold a couple of players out again to clubs in our league. This guy, he has ended up going to HB. Now, he was linked to a club outside of the country as well, but I rejected that offer, and we've sold him to a club within the Faroe Islands. And that's what I'm going to try to do more and more now, is sell players to clubs within our league. Now, we've actually spent money this year. We've spent 125k and only brought in 28k. I don't want to do that every year. I do want to become a profitable football club, but we have 2 million in the bank. Our league win and our cup win financially funded them 2 deals. So I do feel like it was money we could spend. If I go into the stats wise, team detailed, you can see we are still spending under KI. We are still spending half of what KI are spending. So we've got to take the positives from that. In terms of our best players this season then, Mauricio, 32 games, 22 goals. He now has 32 league appearances, 31 goals, and at the age of 19, he's a very talented player. Unfortunately, he wanted to leave, and I said only if we could get a reasonable price. 40k was the price we agreed. I'm not happy with that. Carlsberg's first season at the club, after you guys begged me to sign him, double figures for both. 18 goals, 17 assists. Very successful season. The only other player to make it in double figures was Junge, still at the club. Another year on his contract. I probably want to try to keep him around. 8 starts, 9 goals in the league. He's still a good player. And he is scoring for fun for the national team. 13 games, 9 goals. So he's not in my first team anymore, but he's smashing the door for the national team. In terms of assists, Carlsberg got 17, double figures. Mauricio was 7. Allaire was 6. Macedo was 5. So that is one position we desperately need to improve, is getting more assists in the team going in next season. So our teams ended this season with Renato in goal, who had a really good first season for us. Vegge at right back, who was decent. Obershare, who we came in from Doubles Investor in the winter, was a very good central defender for us, alongside McHugh, who was at the club when we joined, and he's going to be at the club for a few more years, I hope. Then the left back, Ospal, who we signed last season as well, being a very good player. Macedo moved up into central midfield. His pass now's dropped to 9 from 10, but he's still a very good player, alongside Ulrich, who again has been a very solid centre mid. Samuelson at right mid going in next season. Carlsberger left mid. Mauricio up top. And then Rindam at the minute is behind in the Orgonch. But I think probably going in next season, Scala will come back in as just a normal attacking mid. Scala obviously being another player who was with us when we started and came through the academy. So very nice that he's still knocking around. Another thing to mention is that our B team absolutely smashed the league. One defeat all season, won the league by 19 points. Now, Kader Ali, who we signed and I said was a big mistake last season, has 32 goals in 34 games for the B team. So we found his level. He's not going to be good enough for the first team, but we found his level. Now, unfortunately, our under-18s finished in third place, 47 points. So after winning the league in the first season and third season, they've not won the league in the fourth season, unfortunately. But we are trying to add some depth to our B team. Whilst helping teams in our league, we are still looking to add depth to our team. And that just means we need to bring players from other teams as well. So it's finding that balance at the minute. But we've ended season 4. We are champions again. We've won the treble. We've got a very good team with a lot of depth. I have arranged a transfer. We have a new right back coming in. Norwegian, so it doesn't count as foreign. I think it's a very good signing. We did need more depth at right back because at the minute we only have the on loan Faroe player Venge. I don't know how to say it. But we needed more depth, so bringing in that Norwegian 22-year-old from Berda Glimt I think is a very good deal. But yeah, we're on the right track. I apologise there's been no video recently. I apologise that maybe this video almost sounds like I forgot half the stuff that's gone on. It's the joys of being sick. I'm going to go and cough my guts up now and drink some water and try to fix my throat. Hopefully I'm back making regular content soon. It's just waiting for the voice to recover. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.